it shows that like you can say anything you want. I can sit here and tell you everything. I could promise you the world. I can say all these cool words.
Action.
But action is where the gravity is when it comes to building trust.
Yeah, 100%.
Welcome to Courageous Stewards, the podcast where legacy meets leadership.
We believe stewardship isn't just about managing resources. It's about multiplying impact, honoring purpose, and building with eternity in mind. Each week, we dive into business-focused discussions on real estate investing on a foundation of faith and family.
We have a desire to inspire listeners with a heart to reclaim their time, talents, and treasures for something greater. Whether you're growing your portfolio, leading a business, or a family, we need to become the best version of ourselves.
This is your space to gain wisdom, walk in courage, and steward what matters most.
Let's build what lasts. Let's lead with love.
Let's become courageous stewards.
Welcome back to another episode of the Courageous Stewards podcast. I'm Sean Skyver.
And I'm Jake Tracy.
And today we're going to be talking about team. This is going to be about how families and businesses win when they operate as a true team. And we're going to give some practical tips on what that's going to look like and what things are involved. Before we start talking about team, I think every team needs a leader. And that leader is leading someone, but who are they following? So I just want to make a note that there is, like in a household, there's biblical order. So you want to have a strong leader that's being led by the Spirit, by God, and is that influence on whatever team that is, whether it's household, business. So when we look at team today, we're talking about stewarding people, resources, and relationships with intentionality and clarity. So today we're actually going to break it down into an acronym for team. So today we're going to dig into trust, empathy, alignment, and mentorship. So we're going to be breaking down each of these, both in family and in business, along with defining them as we go, and just having conversation around what it looks like, how it can look, and steps you can take to make sure that your team is strong. So let's go into the first one, which is trust.
The T stands for trust, and I think people need to recognize that trust is the foundation of every healthy family and every effective business. It's something that I value personally so incredibly much in my own life, and I've tried to live this out in front of my kids and my partners and my family and people in business. For me, it comes down to you do what you say you're going to do. So many people in today's society say one thing and do another, or say they're going to do something and don't do it. And nothing will destroy trust like giving someone your word and not following through on it.
I would just have a note for that because what you just said has a lot of gravity to it. So when it comes to trust, it is built. So trust, you can't earn trust in a moment.
No.
You show that person consistency. You deliver on your word each time. You build trust over a long period of time. So trust can't be earned in a moment, but it can be lost in one.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding there.
So when you come up and you drop the ball hard for somebody that was counting on you, it's time to rebuild.
Yep.
It isn't that it can't be earned back, but it can't be earned back from one correct move or one good move where you honor your word again. It's going to take time.
Yeah, part of trust is assuming responsibility. To your point, if you drop the ball on something and you know you're responsible for doing it, you fess up to it. You own that thing. And it brings you back to a place where you can be trusted again because you recognize, I'm wrong, I'm human, I make mistakes. This is one of those times, but I see that and I'm going to do better.
Yeah, and make it your problem.
Trust doesn't mean you're perfect.
Yeah.
It means you're intentional. It means you're trying to get there. You're doing your best to keep your word every step you go.
Yep. I literally dropped the ball today.
Did you?
Yeah, I left all. I left
your notes.
I left all of our notes at
right.
the house when we were at the gym, and I got texted my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, if you can run these back to town, and we're gonna be in town for a little bit, can you bring these by?" Well, that was a very easy transition to where now I can make it her problem, and you can see me sit there and go, "I'm mad at her for not being up and being able to." It's like, no, my notes are at home because I left them there. It's my fault. I dropped the ball. I'm going to make a slate for this, and it's on me. So just, owning that, I think, is a way to help build trust.
I think a thing that can help people to trust you, whether it's in business or your individual family members, can be defined in 3 ways: consistency, discipline, and follow through. Those 3 things. If you learn to live with consistency and discipline and follow through in every aspect of your life, you do what you say you're going to do, and nobody ever has to question that, it will put you in a position to be trusted by those closest to you and other people that you bring into your circle. They'll begin to see, this is the person I need to be around because I know that they are going to do everything they say they're going to do to the best of their ability.
Yes.
And that's what you want to surround yourself with.
It shows that, like, you can say anything you want. I can sit here and tell you everything. I can promise you the world. I can say all these cool words.
Action.
But action is where the gravity is when it comes to building trust.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on to number 2. Unless you have something else. Nothing.
Nope.
Okay. Empathy is number 2. That's the E in team. Empathy is kind of a hard one for guys sometimes.
And there's a divide here. There's a separation because empathy and sympathy are 2 words that are often confused or mixed up.
And they're different.
They're very similar, but they are different. So sympathy is more of a detached, I feel for you. Empathy is an effort from the person to feel with the other person. So if you're going through something, I'm actually trying to take time to tie my emotions to what you're feeling for a really deep understanding of where you're at. Not just, that's unfortunate that happened, I'm sorry for your luck, I feel bad for you, but I got to go, right? Because there's a level of detachment there. You still are like acknowledging they're struggling, but you're not trying to feel it with them. So empathy is really coming alongside your team, your people, your family, and going, man, I feel that with you. I can understand where you're at. And then being there for them in a supportive role.
Yeah, I think a synonym that could be used for empathy is just, quite frankly, awareness. Like just being aware of what's going on, what your surroundings are, what other people's emotional state is, and how the things that you're doing can potentially impact them further in a negative way or in a positive way, depending on your behavior.
Because we come into this with, even in family and in business, is we have things we need to do. Things need done. You need to do X, Y, or Z. And it becomes really task focused. And we have to remember that a team, whether home or business, it's like we're people first. You almost have to start with where we're at with what's going on in our lives, because that has the ability, like you were saying, to really impact our performance, our output, and our productivity. So recognizing that that's where you need to start. Not, you missed this timeline and I'm really frustrated that you didn't get these things done. Well, they didn't get those things done because nobody asked them what was going on at home, and they had some heavy stuff, and maybe there could have been a little grace there for now. And they might have been better equipped to do more had somebody come alongside them and asked what was really going on.
2 ways that I think you can be the most empathetic is really defined in 2 simple words, and that is seeing and understanding. Seeing the person, seeing the situation, seeing what's going on, and then understanding that situation. Every individual is dealing with different things at different times, and sometimes things are high pressure. The reality of something for somebody may not be the same reality that it is for you necessarily. They perceive things differently or whatever. And so I think seeing the problem or seeing the person and the situation that they're going through, and then beginning to understand it, almost like in your heart, those 2 things I think will help create a level of empathy.
Yeah, and connect, like closeness, right? It's gonna create some relationship, because a good example of this is parenting. Mm-hmm. So when you are an adult, and you're raising kids that are coming into their teens, or and they're struggling with something, your immediate thing is, that's stupid. Like that's not even a problem. Are you kidding me? Do you know what I went through? Like, it's like, wait a minute.
What are you, 10?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you are 10.
You are, right. Like, it's like, wait a minute. No, this matters to you. Yes. To your world, this is important. This is the end. This has fallen apart for you. You are struggling. Yeah. It's so easy to be like, get over it. That's a small, you have no idea what a problem. It's like, well, maybe there's some weight to that, but right now, that's not what they need, because that is their issue. That is their struggle in the season they're in. So it's in family, that one really shows itself.
Yeah, that's so true. Number 3 is alignment. The A in team is alignment. And alignment means that everybody's moving in the same direction with the same priorities. And I wrote down here, I changed the word priorities to purpose. Everybody is on the same path towards the same thing, the same, I call it, purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just looking at your alignment is just having all the pieces move in the same direction with the same core values, the same intentionality. And that comes from setting the example as the leader or in that role or leading that team or that family. It's more about what you're doing to create that alignment and to demonstrate it. It's people first, it's family first, then it's business. It's people first, family first, then it's guidance. People first, family, then teaching, then punishment. But it still starts with the person first and making sure that you're painting that vision for the team on what you stand for, who you are, what your household is, especially when you're dealing with kids. And the same for the business. You have to paint the vision for your team.
Clarification, that's what I was actually going to bring up.
They need to know where you're going. Where's the ship going? I'm on the boat. I'm with you guys. I hear you talking all the time, telling me what I need to be doing. But what are we doing? So having it and painting that vision oftentimes can really foster that alignment with your team and then your family at home.
And whose job is that? I mean, it's the leader's
leader. That's why I wanted to open this one with the fact, we're going to talk team today. But we need to make sure that we first start with a lead. There has to be a good leader in the house.
Yeah.
In the business, in the house, whatever that is, that leader is responsible for painting that vision. We got to create a sense of buy-in. And you almost do it with your kids and your family and your business. We do this because it matters, because of this. They go, oh, okay, I see it. I watched Dad do it. Now I get it. Now I align. Because they watch your example through, like we talked about, actions over words. I could talk all day. But when they see me in the parking lot at church serving, pouring into these brothers, man, all of a sudden they want to be out there doing it. Yeah. They just see it and they reflect it. So when we're running a business and we're the leads of a business, they got to know what we're building. I think if they had an attachment and a buy-in to the why and the vision, it would be much easier to align their effort, right? Because it's not just checking a box or a to-do list. It's we're building something and I want to be a part of this. Yep. So I'm going to align my efforts and my energy with this goal.
By design, God has created the man to be the leader in the home. And that's something that I don't think a lot of men step up and be, is the leader in their home. And I think that starts by sharing certain values with your wife and with your kids, sharing your goals, creating and sharing a certain rhythm. We've talked about harmony in your home. It's your responsibility as the man to share the vision of your family, where you're going, what you're doing, what you believe, how you're getting there. That's your responsibility.
Yep.
Don't leave it up to your 10-year-old kid to try to create vision and drive the family forward. Yeah. Or your wife, her responsibility is to come alongside and support and love you.
Yep.
But it's your responsibility as a man to set that vision and create alignment through sharing it with your family.
Yeah, the real, we're kind of getting over to a sidebar here, but it really is, there's a shortage of godly men. Mm-hmm. The women that are leading homes sometimes, it comes from a place of a shortage of a godly man in the household that's leading properly.
That's so tough.
So they're in a spot where they have to, and they are doing it, and it is happening. And that comes from a place of the man not being a good leader or a godly man in the home.
Or even involved.
Right, exactly. So that order that's in Scripture is there, but it has to be done correctly and in that order, and has to follow that order for it to look the way it's supposed to look, or it doesn't.
The same way in business is true. You need to create clarity with your team members, with your partners. Clear up what the roles are, who's making decisions, where the authority lies for different tasks, the expectations for everybody involved. Make sure it's clear. If you clearly define things up front, everybody will be far more in alignment as you move forward in growth than they would if everybody's just going every different direction and it's just chaos.
Yep.
And nobody really creates or establishes alignment in what it is that you're doing.
Yep.
So
that's good.
Alignment must be revisited often. It's not something that you're going to define one time and move on from and never return to. You have to bring it back to your meetings, to your conversations. Every So often you should be getting your team together, whether that team, T.EA.M, is your family or your business people that are, that you have in your organization. You need to be getting together with them and clarifying what alignment looks like in your organization or in your family.
People think creating it is doing it. You created it, you put it away, you tuck it in a drawer. Anything neglected deteriorates. So you will have created a vision and then it sits in a drawer. It doesn't get revisited. It doesn't get realigned. You don't get everybody regrouped around what it was that you started originally, and even you start to forget. And so you lose direction, right? Because you've now neglected that thing by not revisiting it.
I think you'll find, too, that alignment doesn't always mean that you continue down the same path that you started. The value that you get from bringing everybody back to the table and redefining what alignment looks like gives you the opportunity to change. Ebb and flow a little bit. You adjust as life moves on, as business grows. You establish what works and what doesn't. You define, we're doing this, we're not doing that. That time back together where you reestablish what alignment looks like, it's going to kind of adjust and flex as you progress through life or through business.
That's a great point.
Number 4 is mentorship. You love this one, and I want you to talk a little bit about it.
Mentorship, it's just, I do love it. I love it in my household. I like it with people. It's big on leadership when it comes to mentoring. This is not about authority, title, or position, or telling somebody to do anything. Mentorship comes from influence. This is connecting with people, relationship, being able to share what you have to help somebody else with no expectations on you getting anything in return. So it's just having a genuine heart to care to develop somebody else, and that's the next generation, and that's people around you. Somebody, we've talked about it before, is waiting for your growth. Well, your growth is the reason they're waiting for that is because they too want to grow. And so often leadership is a thing of being developed so that you can pull up, but you have to keep developing so you can keep pulling more up. And then you want to multiply it, so that leadership and that mentorship, the value in this is the fact that we've talked about it before. We can go right to real estate, real easy, great example. If I sit with somebody at coffee and I talk to them and they want to get started and I give them some direct pointers of direct advice on how to get started, and they do get started, well, they're going to multiply that. They're going to do it now. They might tell 2 more people. That's what I find so incredible about this. Mentorship is biblical, I think, because if we're reflecting God in all we do, and we are mentoring to those and developing family, business partners, employees, and we're consistent in that, you have no idea, you can't see the fruits of your mentorship because it will multiply far beyond anything you could have expected. It will outlive you when you are gone. Because one thing you said to that person that they said to those 2 people that they said to 4 more people, that, like, I'm seeing it right now in the parking team at the church, being able to spend time with a friend there and develop him and watch him go. He's now developing people, and it's incredible. And so I just know that God's doing a work in that, and he calls us to do that. But in mentorship, this is where, don't disqualify yourself from mentoring somebody. Family's a good example. Oftentimes, if I'm going to mentor somebody, I always think, well, it's got to be the oldest, right? It's got to be mom and dad, or it's got to be a parent or an adult. It's like, no. There are oftentimes some of our family, our closest family, and our oldest family is the least mature and the least able to help mentor somebody. It's okay to step up if you feel like you're adding value and you genuinely know that there's truth in what you have to share and can help. Like, be the mentor. At least try. It doesn't mean they're going to receive it, but be the mentor. Don't be afraid to do it. You're being called in that. And kids learn what you're doing, your work ethic, your character, by what you do. So because mentoring is the talking part. And talk is cheap, like we talked about earlier. And so you better be living it out. Now, if they see you living out growth, leadership, intentionality, and they'll follow it because it's consistent and it's happening on a regular basis, they can count on it. And so your mentorship is influence and your words. So it's a combination of the two. And I think it's important, if you're going to mentor somebody, you can only lead to the level that you're led. You're there. If you are at that level, you can lead people to that point. You can't lead them beyond you, so it's just recognizing that too, is leaders develop leaders, not followers. I need to make more people that can be an influence to somebody else. I have that heart for my boys. I have that heart for anybody I engage with. And in business, the old persona or perspective is to pigeonhole information or knowledge if you're a resident expert in your place of employment.
Right.
That's the worst thing to do.
I agree.
Because if you have a team of people and you're pouring into them and you're mentoring them, you give them all your knowledge, all that tribal knowledge that you've had because you've been there 30 years, you just give that to everybody. Because if your team is outperforming you and you're in a lead role, you're winning. That's a good leader. If they're doing better than you at your job, great job on training them, and you got an awesome person on your team. So it's changing the perspective on that mentorship to go, I'm going to give this person everything I can, everything I know, to equip them and empower them to be a great leader, to be a great person in that role, whatever that is. Even if they're not a leader, you can really equip them and empower them and trust them to do what they're doing well. And that's that mentorship.
Yeah. The name of our podcast being Courageous Stewardship, we try to bring things back to a place of stewardship as frequently as we can. And I think this is the perfect example of defining what mentorship really is. And that is it is stewardship of people. Like that is what you're doing by mentoring the next generation or the people that are around you, is really using the opportunities that God has given you to steward, hopefully well, the people that you're surrounded by, pouring into them, helping them to learn and grow. The best way to do that is to model the behavior that you're talking about. To your point, you said that just a moment ago. And it really holds true that your actions are going to speak so much louder than your words. And although people begin to value your words when they see those actions, and they see that the words that you're saying are reflected also in the actions that you're doing. But it's important to remember that your behavior, your actions are really going to determine how much you're going to be able to pour into somebody in a mentorship role. And that mentorship is building legacy, really. It's building legacy for others. To your point, once again, you never know how far the littlest thing that you're doing is going to go.
Yeah.
I've talked about this a couple of times to kind of go down a rabbit trail in a story. In my dad, I grew up as a youth pastor's kid. And through the process of being a PK, I didn't really understand the impact that my dad was having on the kids that were in his youth group. And through that process, golly, we probably had, at the height of the youth at the church that we were working with, the youth group had to be somewhere between 120 to 180, maybe even more than that, kids.
Wow.
It was a big youth group, very big. And now those kids are older than me. I was younger than them at that time, and they all have families of their own. They're spread out all over the country and maybe the world. You don't realize the impact that you're having in the moment, and you sit back later and go, did it really matter? Did it really impact anybody? And I'm just sitting here thinking like, holy cow.
Yeah, think about it now.
That's unbelievable. You don't realize it when you're in the moment, the mentorship to the one person that develops into a group of people, that develops into a
nation,
country,
right.
a world. You know, the whole world can be impacted by how you mentored that one person.
Yes.
And the behavioral patterns that you set up and the things that people around you see can determine how they act and where they take their mentorship and they steward to develop somebody else who knows, maybe the person who's the next Billy Graham or the next president of our country is impacted significantly because of something that you did to somebody else, did for somebody else, or trained somebody else in. You just don't know.
No, it's trusting God's promise in the mundane.
Yeah.
You feel like you're just in the grind. You're just doing the day-to-day, and you're like, I'm helping. I know what I'm doing is good, but what really is it? And you have the opportunity to see that God's promise come through in a big way, thinking about all those kids that grew up to have families that are all over the place that are having kids, and the impact is tremendous. And so it's having that perspective that God's doing something much larger with the thing you think is minuscule. So yeah, that's awesome.
It's hard to see that perspective when you're in the weeds of it.
Oh my
so
gosh.
hard. You think, what's the point?
What are we-
Why am I
just
doing
spinning in
this?
circles.
Yeah. I'm not impacting anybody.
No. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but God's moving.
Yeah. Even when you don't recognize it. So that's the acronym that we have for TEAM. If you can put those things into place in your own home and in your business, I think you'll find a lot of value in that. A true team doesn't happen by accident. It's built through trust, empathy, alignment, and mentorship. We want to challenge you today to identify which one of these things maybe is most needed and needs the most attention in your own life, and take action. Figure out a way that you can apply some of what we've talked about into the thing that you're struggling with to improve on it. Hopefully this has been valuable to you guys. We love bringing this kind of information. We hope that you've gotten something out of it. We want to hear about your stories, maybe the things that you're challenged by, which one of these maybe you're struggling with, or maybe you found that you are actually quite good at. You can drop your story and reach out to us. And we look forward to the next episode. We will see you guys later. We love you. Bye. Thanks for joining us today on Courageous Stewards, where legacy meets leadership and faith fuels the journey.
If this episode stirred something in you, share it with someone who's ready to step boldly into their calling. Subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected as we continue to explore what it means to lead with conviction, serve with excellence, and build with eternity in mind.
So until next time, keep showing up, keep stewarding well, and remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in motion.